The first time that I flew on the trapeze, I learned a lesson that I will never forget. I didn't think that I was afraid of heights, but as I climbed the rickety ladder, I became mildly apprehensive. When I got to the top, I met my instructor. She was about 3 inches taller than me, had long black curly hair, and a mischievous glint in her eyes. She told me to step up and hold on to the pole. So I did. And then she said, now let go with your right hand, step over to the edge of the platform, and reach out and grab the trapeze bar. So I did. And then she said, now let go with your left hand, reach out for the trapeze bar, and jump. She probably thought that I was hard of hearing, so she repeated herself. Let go of the pole, reach out for the bar, and jump. No. I was petrified. I couldn't move. And that's when she leaned in and whispered, honey, sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable in order to fly. So I did. Now, I've flown numerous times, but it's her words that I carry with me every single day. Sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable in order to fly. What do you have to let go of in order to fly? Do you have to let go of a system that's no longer working? Do you have to let go of a toxic person that's bringing you down? Do you have to let go of a belief that's no longer serving you? Or fear? Or pain? Or perhaps comfort? Sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable in order to fly. We clutch so fiercely to things that were never within our control. Other people's opinions, exterior situations. And then, with the things that are actually within our control, our own thoughts, feelings, and responses, those we let slip through our fingers. In today's society, we emphasize being comfortable far too much. Security, stability, comfort. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that we must have our base needs met. However, in business and in life, when we prioritize being comfortable, we suppress innovation, growth, and excellence. Instead, we have to push, we have to press past the boundaries. We need to take risks. We need to become uncomfortable on a regular basis so that we can get closer and closer to all that we were meant to be. The other day, I was having a conversation with my son. He's really an amazing little boy. Now, technically, I have to say that. He's mine. But he really is. He doesn't always like to do what everybody else likes to do. He doesn't always see the world in the same way. But he is creative and compassionate and talented and at times teased. And he came up and he told me about this particular situation, and I wanted to rush right out and defend him. But I didn't. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just wrap my arms around him and tell him that everything's going to be okay. But I didn't. Instead, I sat him down and I told him a story. Baby, when Mommy was growing up, she cared a little bit too much about what other people thought. I always wanted everybody to like me. When I was teased, I would change. Do you like me now? When people laughed at me, I would change Do you like me now? Whenever someone had a different opinion from me, I would change. And even up until as recent as just a few years ago, I was presenting to a large audience, and most of the people there, they were laughing when they were supposed to laugh, they were leaning forward, they were clapping, except for one man who was sitting over there. Oh, not you, sir, sorry. But he was sitting in that vicinity. I remember he was leaning back, and at one point, he actually fell asleep. Now, what I should have done was give all of my energy to everyone who was already connecting with me. But I didn't. Instead, I gave all of my energy to him. Do you like me now? It's funny. Later on in the hallway, it was that man who came up, and I'll never forget it because it truly impacted me. He came up to me afterward, and he said, "Sweetie, you looked great up there, but I couldn't hear a word you were saying. My hearing aid died." What? It was in that moment that I understood that we never know what someone else is thinking. We never know what someone else's intentions are. We never know why someone else doesn't like us. It could be because you look like their ex. You don't know. So it's better to let go of our attachment to what other people think and instead embrace who we really are, our unique gifts, our talents, the often messy human condition of who we really are. Because we're each perfect exactly as we are. You're perfect exactly as you are. You're perfect exactly as you are. Because, baby, you're perfect exactly as you are. And that's when he came up and wrapped his arms around my neck and said, "Thank you, Mama. So are you." And then he ran off to play. Whether we're parenting or mentoring someone in an organization or just being the guides of our own lives, it doesn't serve us or anyone else to be in a box of what's comfortable. We need to teach people to embrace who they really are, every aspect of it, so that they can become fully who they were always meant to be. I was telling the story about my son to my friend. This is one of those friends. Everyone should have one of these. She's someone that I go to often whenever I need to be lifted up, whenever I need someone to accept me exactly as I am. I told her the story, we had a little laugh about it, and then she said, "Oh, I have this new exercise for you. It's about releasing things that you want to let go of." I said, "Oh yeah, that's right up my alley." So she told me, she said, you get a piece of paper, a pencil, and you write all the emotion words that are around that thing that you want to let go of. And then you either bury it or burn it. I'm like, yes, I love that. Now, it was just around this time when I had had one of those conversations. You know, the ones where you have a little disagreement with someone, and then you part ways, and later on, typically between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, you open your eyes and you go, "Oh, that's what I should have said." Have you ever had one of those? I did. And it kept churning in my head and churning in my stomach, and I wanted to release it. So I sat down with my piece of paper and my pencil, and I started writing about how angry I was and how frustrated I was and all of the different things that I wanted to say. And then a very strange thing happened. along about page 3, I wrote something nice. Now that was uncomfortable because I wasn't supposed to do that. But I continued anyway. And I started to write about how the conversation had actually helped me, how it helped me to become a better, stronger person. And then I signed it in gratitude, Heather. And I folded it up, and I realized that it looked a little bit like a box that a gift would come in. Because it was. When we can let go of our negative attachment to people, things, and situations while still holding on to the lesson, that's freedom. It's not comfortable, but it leads to freedom and excellence. That same friend invited me over for coffee. She wanted to introduce me to a few new, interesting people. So of course I went, and I was chatting with a woman who is an acupuncturist and an energy healer. We're having a lovely conversation. And then all of a sudden, my friend says, "Oh, you should work on Heather." This was wildly uncomfortable for me. So I said, "No, I'm fine. I have a lot of energy. I am really good, but thanks for the offer." This is an opportunity you don't want to miss. Now, this is, of course, the point where I remembered my trapeze instructor's words. Sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable in order to fly. So I said, "Okay, I'll give it a try." And then she gets up, starts to walk inside, and says, "Come on." What? Right now? Don't we have to make an appointment or something? Apparently not. We went inside, and I laid down on the rug, and she sat by my head and placed her hands upon my shoulders until my breathing calmed down, which eventually it did. And then she placed her hands upon my heart, and I cried. I looked up at her. I'm sure she could feel me starting to tense up again. And she said, "Let it go. That pain that you have been carrying around with you, it's not yours. It's not helping you. Let it go." And with tears streaming down my cheeks, I did. I strive every single day to do something that makes me at least a little bit uncomfortable, because I know that it's going to get me closer and closer to who I was always meant to be. Who were you meant to be? Who were you meant to be? What impact were you supposed to have on the world? And what do you have to let go of in order to get there? Do you have to let go of the need to be right? Do you have to let go of guilt, regret, fear, pain, or that incredible desire to remain comfortable? You're going to watch many additional TED Talks. And when you do, I want you to listen for the point in the story where each speaker lets go of being comfortable. Because that is where you're going to find the lesson. It's your choice. You get to choose. Don't let that choice slip through your fingers. And take it from my trapeze instructor. Sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable in order to fly.